Hello, everyone. Welcome back again to Cam's Cast or Daper Cast. As still, basically, I might just say both of them. Honestly, I don't really want to make a decisive choice on that one. But anyway, how y'all doing? Nice to see y'all again. Um, so today I'm back here talking about some more interesting topics that I just been noticing, things like that. That's kind of what I like to do is kick around questions and interesting topics that I might have had with some groups, some friends, or focus groups just recently, and just thought I'd come publicly speak about them. Maybe get some new perspective on them somehow from whoever feels free to respond to them. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Um, for one, I hope y'all can hear me. Um, if you can't, if at this point there's really not much that I can do about that. Also, considering this isn't me going, well, I am currently live right now, but as far as like being live to where viewers can actually see this simultaneously, it's not exactly, y'all get the picture. I don't want to go into in depth on that. But with that being said, about we get started with the introduction of today's topic. Last week we had some fun, pretty much throwing around two words that I think people need to hear every now and then. Uh, Emotional and ignorance. And well, I've had some people comment, sort of, and let's get started with this one. So, okay. Well, today we're going to talk about struggles of the successful black man. How y'all feel about that? I got really questions, honestly, that I'm going to be speaking from. Questions that I've gotten, as well as questions that I have developed and designed myself that I would love to be answered. I think I found answers to them, but if you have a different response, please feel free to leave it below. So, with that being said, basically, I just been noticing just with different events taking place of how the successful black man just pretty much gets drug in the dirt a lot. For basically lack of better phrases, I'm sorry, over here I kind of got my list of notes that I want to speak from. So kind of make it a little organized so that I'm not just talking idly. Um, with that being said, I've seen and heard and some experiences that it's just like, wow, okay. I mean, the first thing y'all might want to define, I want to know is what do you define as successful black man? Well, one that doesn't follow into the usual normal path. And that's no shot at nobody. It's just those who tend to stand out. Usually, do you have to necessarily have a degree or an education to be considered one? Not all the time, no, not necessarily. I mean, I think it kind of puts you in a category, but then on top of that, it kind of depends on, it's really just about, it's a mindset, honestly. I mean, how do you feel about yourself? I know some guys that have several degrees and they don't really view themselves that highly, which isn't a bad thing. It's just, I mean, you ask them if they're successful and they just shrug their shoulders. So it's like, okay. Whereas someone else who didn't even graduate high school so feels like, they've accomplished more things in life than anybody else. So, I mean, it's pretty much just about how you feel about yourself. A lot of people don't really have, well, a lot of black men may not have the most confidence in the world about things or about themselves. And I mean, can you blame them? But with that being said, it's basically just black men that have opportunities, that have a lot to bring to the plate. Let's just put it that way. And that's my definition. If you have another one, please enlighten us all. So, with that being said, why are successful black men always getting slammed? I have an interesting story I've been waiting to tell about a company where I thought that loyalty was to be valued, as in, I mean, I am what? I'm not even 25 yet. And this person who has been in the vice executive position, I guess you want to call it, second in command, has probably been there since I read his bio, since I was in diapers, literally. So, with that being said, when I first heard about it, and when I was first made aware of this situation, I learned that basically, the person preceding him that was above him, let me start off from there, had decided to retire after about, I'd say, 4 years of being head man, if you want to call it. Right after that, there was a decision to be made, a race for it, and it was between an older European lady, I guess commonly referred to as an owl. If some of you know what I mean by that, I learned that from a television show, which I'm not going to mention. I just thought it was hilarious when I learned what it meant. And I was like, wow, okay, that's clever. I like that. Basically, an older European lady. Um, I want to say maybe 70s, late 60s at the least. Um, and him, who was in perfectly good condition to do the position. And he lost to her. And I said, okay, that sucks, but hey, that's your first running. Okay. It happens. And I'm just thinking, I didn't really have much opinion on it at the time. I was just like, okay, let's do this thing, right? So then after that, of course, time went on, a couple months went by, and then I found out that that same lady decided to step down for medical reasons that were unknown or private. Who knows what they were? But that's not the point. So she stepped down, and as she stepped down, let's keep in mind this company is going through a pandemic, correct? So things are not running as smoothly as anyone is used to, right? Let's keep that in mind. So, with that being said, guess who gets selected to be the interim head man? Him. So I'm thinking, okay, cool, bet, all right. I mean, hey, you know, nature has spoken. Hope she does. Best of wishes to her. Um, and all that. Hope she gets better. I'm not saying that she asked for it, not saying that at all. It's just, I mean, well, here's another shot. I mean, man down, man up, right? I used to hear that all the time back in football, back in high school. Man down, man up. So, because the show must go on, because we still have something to run here, correct? So then what happens is, he's running it for a couple of months through a pandemic. Like I said, emphasis and bold on that. And I heard this was actually wasn't his first time that happened to him. So I was like, oh really? Wow, okay, cool. Interesting. So that takes its course. And after that, I'm thinking, okay, well, he's definitely gonna be the next person. You might as well just give it to him, right? Now, like I said, there's probably more. I'm not completely putting my full opinions on this because I am unaware of all the details that are enclosed in on this decision making process. If I may clearly state that at the beginning. So, like I said, that should, for any of y'all that have any negative comments talking about you don't know what really happened, you're right. I don't. That's why I'm saying I'm just putting from based off the knowledge that I have concurred. These are just my feelings. So, I just don't understand why. But with that also being said, so another race formally has to be conducted, which I can understand. And it happens to be him and somebody from another male, black male, interestingly, from 5, 6, 7 states away from the location of that company. So I'm like, okay, um, what chance does he have? Again, then on top of that, I hear that the guy's not even all that qualified. But I'm just thinking, how can you compete with this? But he did. And I heard it was a very tight race. And he still came out on top. And I said, whoa. Now, I mean, you can go and look at the facts if you want. This is where, at a point, a certain point in time, to where I'm not afraid to really speak my mind on that. All facts set aside, I'm thinking in my head, what the hell? Like, I don't get it. I mean, if you don't feel like he is capable of running the company, I mean, that kind of goes back to my first topic of emotional ignorance. Like, I mean, you can't just make decisions like that based off of your personal feelings towards the person. Like, I mean, I know in some situations things are decided that way, but I mean, I'm even reading articles talking about the person that won wasn't even completely qualified. Now, how true that was, I'm not too up to date on, but I'm just saying either way, can you give me 5 good reasons for why this man wasn't selected? This is basically his home. Like, I mean, it's like y'all pretty much, I mean, y'all just kind of kicking him out. Like, what's up with that? I mean, why y'all want to pay that man his respect? But I'm just thinking, wow. I mean, and that's just one story I got for you. I got several others. I mean, I'm not saying it happens to all of them. I'm not saying that at all. It's just what I've seen, and just I mean, I just don't understand. Um, I consider myself successful. I have a decent occupation. On top of that, I have a degree, on track for my master's degree. Uh, my mind is pretty sharp. My brain is pretty sharp. I'm not saying it to brag. I'm just saying I think at one point, I didn't think I met the qualifications for being considered successful, but um, I think I'm borderline at the point of have I really made that many accomplishments? Not necessarily, but I think I still consider myself successful. But with that being said, I mean, I've been denied from some things. From crazy thing is, this happened to be with the example that I just provided y'all with. That was basically a mixture of races and a mixture of genders. My denial was more from just my own. And I just thought, this is wild, this is wicked. I mean, it's just, it just made me think like, if we don't look out to one another, who is? Look at the world. But I guess that's just a lesson that has to be taught. Maybe never was taught. I didn't think it really had to be taught, but I guess so. I mean, what do you expect to happen? You know, you were supposed to be considered my brother, but I mean, all I see is that you don't want me to win. So, I mean, like I said, when I consider someone successful, I consider what all can you bring to the plate, what all you can bring to the table. I brought nothing but positive things, a positive attitude, positive resume, and a positive slate of ways that in which I can be of help and assistance. But apparently that means nothing to some people. And sometimes especially your own. And I just said, okay, well, that's weird. Um, and the same reasons why y'all are telling me, like I said, I got into that already. But I'm just thinking, like I said, it boils all down into pretty much the same category and the same stuff. So, without further ado, we can go ahead and jump into like a next question or whatever. I mean, simply right after that, I mean, I asked somebody the other day, what does this message send to the rest or to the world? Or what would it send? What message would it send to you? They simply said, well, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I'm not going to even get into what one of my favorite artists had to say about that because he had a third one, but that kind of led to some violence. So we're not going to talk about that. Those of you who know what I'm talking about, you can put that in the comments yourself. But I just thought that was crazy. I mean, he's right. I mean, I also said, I mean, I mean, that's just like basically telling, a bunch of our group of individuals that even if you put in the work and work very hard, I mean, there are some people, if you have to depend on others, in other words, which is why that's actually why I'm here. Because, I mean, I depended on others to, help build a platform, should I say, to be able to bring what I'm bringing out of my mind to you all. So, I mean, that didn't work. So it's like what I'm saying. I mean, that just says that even when you have everything in a row, I mean, you're just gonna be told no and get the door closed on you. So it's like, okay, um, what does that say about the world? What does it say about society? I mean, everybody can debate these in different ways, how they feel. I just feel that it's like you telling me you basically, I mean, for instance, there's governmental programs, governmental assistance programs. And I don't mean to necessarily bring them all up, but I'm not gonna bring them all up. Just one in particular that I've heard about and been made aware of and made familiar with recently, and I think it's called Section 8. It might be housing authority or something like that, where the government pretty much helps you out if you were like living in a rent home or maybe like an apartment or whatever. Correct. And if I got that wrong, please correct me. However, anyway, what I've learned about it is that if you if you develop a sense of income and you get a job or occupation, and your income increases, then your assistance from them decreases. Now, I'm not saying I'm knocking that, but what's the difference between that and this? I mean, the only difference is simply that I guess that's where the government is, kind of spanking those people in that situation, but at the same time, we turn around and spank ourselves for the same for something in the other direction. Now, a lot of y'all might say, "Man, that's an easy word for that." I'm pretty sure there is. I'm not mentioning it, but I mean, some might call it ratchet, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. But I'm just saying, it's just like that's just interesting to me. But and I'm pretty sure, as you all can see, with these added up stories, and experiences of others that I've heard of, that I've read, and experiences that I have been through, like it does kind of tend to basically develop a perspective within a person, whether it's negative or positive. It's kind of on the person. And I'm not gonna really say mine is negative. It's just more of let's play ball. But I mean, I'm aware now. At first, I wasn't. I pretty much grew up in like a private school setting, so um, I would say I'm late to the party, but I really think it's the other way around. For the longest, um, I've been feeling kind of slow for not really understanding this as well as others might understand it. But well, technically, how can I be the one that's being slow? And I'm not saying everybody else is. I'm just saying this ain't the way things are supposed to go. It's like an upside down universe. Like I don't consider myself slow for this stuff anymore. It's just like you're not supposed to think like this. But with that being said, a lot of the stuff that I'm speaking on right now, not this book in specific terms, but it's gonna be in my book if y'all want to read more in depth. Um, these examples and stories that I might provide y'all with are not necessarily in there. I don't think. I told myself I'd rather speak about that verbally than write it down. But that being said, I mean, I just thought those situations were crazy. And, sometimes I would actually like to put a mic up to those certain individuals that made those decisions and just simply say, can you give me a good reason as to why this decision here was made? I mean, can you give me a really good decision with your heart, not with your brain, not with your head, with your heart? Like, you see, when you say that, some people tend to be like, "Oh, my point exactly." I mean, how would you have felt if this happened to you? I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, think about that for a second. So, um, another big question is, can it really be fixed? I think it can. Will it? Can it and will it is two completely distinctive forms of questioning. For one, yeah, I mean, you can take this back to sports. Like I told you, I love sports, and I'll probably be talking about that more in videos and podcasts later on down the road. But I mean, in a season, if you got what high school football team has about what 10 games, you start off 0-4, 0-5. Well, you get to mid-season and simply say, look, can it be fixed? Captain comes up, quarterback, whatever. Coach decides you. One of those episodes where coach decides you just leave y'all in the locker room by yourselves, or whether it be at halftime or that sixth game, or you know, at the end of the game of whenever, like it's just like here, just simply say, can it be fixed? Then leave the guys in the locker room and talk it over. Anything could be done. Sky's the limit. Question is, will it? Then guys come together and say, hey, we're tired of losing. I mean, obviously, I know what it feels like to lose. Even if it was what 4 or 5 really close games and they all went to overtime, that's even worse. I mean, because at the end of the day, no one ever remembers the person that you know fought with y'all for 3 overtimes and still lost by 1 point. I mean, it'll be something to remember, but you still lost. Unfortunately, that's pretty much all that kind of comes out of that argument 5 years later. Maybe not a year later, maybe not 2 years later, but 5 years later. So with that being said, I mean, it's just simple. I mean, y'all lost, and you know what it feels like to lose. Is that what y'all signed up for? Because if that's the case, you might as well hang your helmets up and go home. I mean, or just to say, oh, we almost came close. That's what you want to say for the next 4 games or the next 5 games. You came close. So, I mean, like I said, can it? Will it? I mean, what I'm seeing right now in the news, I mean, it can, but it's not heading in the right direction. So, I mean, I'm just saying. This always seems to happen every time I get on here. But anyway, I just like to point those little distinct measures out. Even when I pay attention in the sports world, I'm seeing some things right now that I don't directly like. It's not that, I mean, let me go ahead and get into one real quick. Um, my boy, I've been watching this dude for, I've been watching him his whole career. I'm just keep it real. But I did get some glimpses of him at the end of his sophomore season, and I pretty much watched him for when I could watch him all throughout his junior year, which is only about a few games, made it all the way to the national championship, and he lost. But he's a phenomenal athlete. Um, Great kid. I mean, he's got a lot to bring to the plate, but nobody wants to pay attention to that when it comes to, draft placement. People want to say, yeah, he's good. But I'm just thinking, okay, that's cool and all. I'm not hearing no buts about none of these other top draft prospects, though. And, I've listened to some analysts discuss this quarterback lately, and I'm just thinking, like, okay, I mean, so would you mock draft specialists or experts, should I say? I mean, can y'all give me, when y'all give me one bad detail about any of these other top quarterbacks, then, and by the way, I mean, y'all may not view this until after the draft. Who knows? But I still want to get it off my mind because it kind of just furthered my reason in doing this video. Like, I haven't heard anything negative about them talking about why they can't be there. But guess what else I also know? They weren't in a national championship. Now, I'm going to leave that right there for y'all to decipher over if you want to. But I'm just saying, I mean, what sense does that make? He can't be that bad. I mean, y'all might say, oh, well, he had a whole bunch of weapons. Okay. I know a lot of people that had a bunch of weapons. I mean, and it might have not been. I know I said that when I saw his third game that he has a lot of weapons and this and that. That's a good thing. That just shows you he knows how to use them. But y'all want to come back and say that he picks his target receivers and this and that because he wants to win the game and he knows who's going to give him the opportunity to win the game. Like I said, if you coming out here to lose it, you might as well just go home and hang your helmet up. And that's no disrespect to anybody that he did not target back in the season. I'm just saying, like, I just see that as wrong. And it's just like now am I saying that he should not get any criticism? No, not at all. I hadn't even paid that much attention to his game lately, but I know he gets the job done. I'm just saying, I mean, when he first came out, honestly, in my opinion, I kind of wish he would have stayed for another season, but I can understand why he left. So, if anybody knows what I'm talking about, it's Justin Fields, quarterback of Ohio State. They've always produced some of the best African American male quarterbacks in the past, and honestly, I'm sold as a fan of that squad. I've been a fan of them probably since I was in middle school. And I think that's going to continue. And am I second guessing myself? No, I'm not. It's just hard to go and get up there and see a game, right? So, I mean, they ain't got no reason, no business to be down here unless they're playing a championship or a Sugar Bowl, correct? So, I mean, but that doesn't stop me from rooting for a team. You got some people that might be in Oregon rooting for the freaking Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? So that's literally across country, but or vice versa. But anyway, what I'm just simply saying is that I mean, man, let the boy play. Honestly, just let him play. I mean, what y'all want him to do? I mean, but see, here's the thing. Now, listen to this part. I find it interesting how he doesn't have that many games to play with. A lot of people had an issue with that at first when they first got to the championship, talking about how how y'all gonna let a team get to the championship that only played about 4 or 5 games, maybe, if that. While others, and like I said, at first I was thinking the same thing, like that ain't right. Like, nah, we should really sit the season out. I mean, we done already missed half of it, and it's just like, but I mean, and consider this. I mean, if you want to sign a leadership, that should be the main that should be the main demonstration of a quarterback, in my opinion, especially if you talk about at the professional highest level of the sport. And I think he demonstrated that perfectly back right before the season started, whenever he issued a petition around his conference to the commissioner of his conference. I'm not going to say the name of the conference because I don't know it exactly, but I thought that that showed a sign of major leadership. Now, maybe it might have been other petitions too, but that was the only one that I was personally made aware of. And I thought that that was amazing. I really did. I said, wow, he really did that. He took matters into his own hands and he did something about it. And I salute him for that. And then with basically limited time and limited, opportunities, he got on the field and did what he had to do. I mean, what else y'all want from him? Like, seriously. He's got a swagger like never seen before, or never before seen, however you want to phrase that, that has been made known by analysts. And I'm just thinking, what else y'all want from this brother? Like, seriously. I mean, all he's trying to do is win. I mean, now he may not be too concerned about this, but I'm sure he is. It's just, I mean, what y'all want? Like, y'all keep talking about, oh, he's not this, he's not that, he's not this, but he got his team to a championship. Now I know what I had just said. It don't matter if you get that or not if you lose, and I stand by that. But my point is like y'all acting like, I mean, this ain't about. Excuse me, y'all. This isn't about necessarily what big games you win. I know they want to see you, how you perform in big and major contests. But this, when you're talking about a person's personal abilities, this isn't about necessarily what games they win and this and that. I mean, this kind of comes to just zeroing in a person. That is something you kind of more so decide whenever you're trying to see who's going to stack up in the playoff race, or who's going to make it into what they call it now, the college football playoff or whatever. Like, when you're talking about draft classes and draft placements, I understand these are just mock drafts and I shouldn't be all upset about it, but I'm just thinking the fact that people still think like this, that's my point. Like, get a man a break. What y'all want from him? Like, I mean, like I said, don't y'all find it a little peculiar that they haven't spoken about this about any of the other ones? Like, I mean, and if they have given details necessarily of other quarterbacks that, like, for instance, who we got? Zach Wilson of BYU, I believe, Brigham Young University. For those of you that may or may not know what that stands for, because for a while I didn't, but I did my research. And then who else do you have? Mac Jones, Alabama, and a few others too. And I'm just thinking, y'all are trying to tell me that those quarterbacks are better than him. Now, I'm not disagreeing with y'all. Like I said, y'all do y'all research more than I do. It's your job. But what I am saying is that, I mean, from what I've seen from these quarterbacks, I mean, I'm not saying within him, or I'm sorry, what I've seen from him, I'm not saying within them. That's just my opinion. I mean, but, and I'm not saying he should receive all the highest praises. I mean, there has been some times on the field where he has upset me, but I mean, I don't think this should be taken out on that. But like I said, we will let the owners, the ones that really have it up here, we will let them decide. I just hope it goes somewhere good. I mean, if it's under Bill Belichick, then that's great. I think that, he's a great coach, phenomenal instructor. I think I can see that working out, a good connection between the two of them. But with that being said, that just, like I said, that just brings up my point. Like, I mean, guys, what are we doing? I mean, and then you think of just some of these NBA players, just, people from around the league. Like, I'm just thinking, I mean, things that just happen all the time to successful black men. And it's just like, I mean, if there's one place, like I said, that was my point. If there's one place where we want to start, in order to start something, you got to stop something. So, I mean, like for instance, if you got a bad habit of waking up super late in the morning, I mean, you got to stop that and begin a new one. So, honestly, it's not even all about just stopping, just start, just do it. So, with that being said, I'm saying, I mean, we talk about all the injustices taking place, in the world. Like, it's like you either hear one or two things nowadays. You either hear about black men that are either, it's never really any positives. Like, and if it is, it might be once or twice a year. That's not enough. Like, it's either the successful ones are getting, that, and as well as it's just like I said, what does that tell society? I mean, what does that tell us? I mean, it kind of just tells you, even if you do something, you're still gonna get ridiculed. You're still gonna get pulled back. Like a game I used to play when I was back in high school called Fun Run. I don't really know if it even still exists. I haven't played it in years, but they had this magnet on there that you can shoot at somebody you were racing against, and it was zapping back. I mean, tell me how this ain't, it's just. Let me not get too far into that. But anyway, like I said, these talks that I do with y'all, they're not meant to offend. I'm not trying to step on nobody's toes. I'm just speaking real. I mean, honesty, I've been told, is one of my best qualities. Um, I don't like to hold back. I mean, I just think that these topics need to be kind of discussed a little bit more. I see some people bringing them out to light, but some people also might be a little bit afraid to discuss them, and I can understand that. But I mean, I'm just speaking my mind. So, with that being said, I mean, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, all those good things, and comment below. If you want to know about, the fit that I got on today, this is basically considered a blue denim suit. Um, that's what it says online. It has a little gray in it, I guess, a little bit. It's all one color. I usually do mix the suits, mix them up every now and then. Different color jacket, different color trousers, or slacks, as they're formerly known as. Well, actually formerly known as they're informally known as slacks, formerly known as trousers. For those that didn't know, white shirt with a gray pattern, pink tie with some blue pattern in it, kind of matching the suit, and a pocket square over there. Uh, Got on, of course, some brown Stacey Adams. One of my favorite ones, dark brown that is. Usually with like this is more like a medium type of color. So with like a darker color suit, I usually wear like a lighter brown shoes. Yes, browns are my favorite. Cognac, light brown, dark brown. That's really my favorite colors. If you hit me in the comments below, you want to know where I might have got any items in which I have on, I'll let you know. But I will not promote them on this video. I've learned that that is not a good idea. So, without further ado, like I said, if y'all have anything else to ask, you can say that. But next time when we come back, I will have some more topics to talk about and more conversations to bring up. Um, Next one probably just be talking about professionalism, and trust me, it's not as boring as it really sounds. I'm just gonna be defining it pretty much and just talking about some more stuff and some more things that happen. Just kind of pretty much just speaking my mind. Um, that being said, see y'all later. And like I said, if y'all have anything to say about like any of this stuff taking place, anything you would like me to personally talk about, then go ahead and tell me about it. I'll kind of develop my mind, develop some I wouldn't say develop my mind, but I'll say develop a position on it, an opinion, back and forth, versus things like that, pretty much give you perspectives from both sides, both point of views, this, that, and the third. And I mean, yeah, I mean, I try my best and I come with like should I say lines from like books or whatever. I might throw in a few lines from my own book, but that's about it. I mean, and no, before you think we're basically getting your audio book by listening to this, not necessarily. Things I might be talking about on here might be going in my next one if I do choose to. It depends on pretty much the success of the first one to decide if I will be producing and well, basically will be producing and releasing a second one. So, but it's pretty much all new information. Um, got a lot to say, so that's why I've been encouraged so much to basically put this content on out here. As y'all can see, I don't really like to basically name anybody specifically. I mean, just I think that most of the things that I talk about pretty much come from one simple thing, one simple word that we may all be extremely familiar with. And what is it, a five-letter word, I believe? Well, if you put it in plural, it's six. Haters. There's a little major green monster running around called jealousy. And I think most of that comes from that personally. And I think we need to put that in a Ziploc bag and mail that back to wherever it came from because it has no place in our society or in any society for that matter. So, I mean, but yeah, with that being said, y'all go ahead and enjoy the rest of y'all's evening, and I will do the same. Nice speaking to y'all. See y'all next time.